Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany. Welcome back, or welcome if you've never been here before. Today I'm gonna do the reading habits tag. So I actually got this idea from Criminali. He reads a lot of horror, true crime, and I found him through Crystal from Crystal's Bookish Life. He did a video where he read a romance novel that she recommended, and ever since then, I have been watching his content. I primarily read romance. I think 2 of the books out of 513 last year were thrillers. But I just like the way that he discusses story structure. He's very endearing, very articulate, and I love his videos. So I'm gonna link his video down below because I do remember him mentioning having, kind of an issue with finding the original creator. I'm also going to put all of the questions down below just in case you would like to do this for yourself. So let's get into it. I'm gonna grab my phone and I'll be referring to that. The first question on the list is, do you have a certain place at home for reading? I do. I'm usually on my couch in the living room if I'm reading, or at the kitchen table. Also, while I'm home, I like to read in the lounge space here at my apartment complex. I'm big on utilizing the amenities that I'm paying for. And also, there's like filtered water over there, coffee. No one's ever in there. There are booths, couches. It's a vibe. So I'm in there as much as I read like in my actual apartment, and I love it. The next question is, bookmark or random piece of paper? For me, it's neither. I'm sure I have one here because they're freaking everywhere. I typically bookmark my physical copies with my tab strips. I buy them in bulk. They're everywhere in the house, and just out of habit, I use these more than anything. Even if I'm not tabbing, this is my go-to. The next question is, can you just stop reading, or do you have to stop after a chapter, a certain amount of pages? I prefer to stop at chapter breaks. If I'm unable to, if I'm in public and I need to stop, or if I'm at work, okay, I will at least finish the page. Like, that's kind of a must for me. I don't even listen to audiobooks before bed because I do run during vampiric hours and I don't get a lot of sleep. And so I noticed when I listened to audiobooks like before bed, I was so compelled to like stay awake until I got to the next chapter so I could at least remember where I was at. So I prefer chapter breaks up in here. That's just how it runs for me. I can't even imagine like stopping in the middle of a page. Why? We all have our things, right? We all have our things. Mine's stopping at the end of a chapter. Next is, do you eat or drink while reading? I do. I do like to snack, but if I am reading a physical copy, like I even wash my hands because I don't want my makeup transferring onto the page. But I read a lot of ebooks over here, and my preferred snack are Smart Sweets, kombucha in a wine glass, and probably protein chips by Quest, the ranch flavor. That's all me, okay? I love my Smart Sweets while reading. The next question is, multitasking, music or TV while reading? TV is a no for me. It's too much going on. I can listen to music. I learned that while reading the Kingmaker series by Sophie Lark. She has great playlists that go along with those books, and they're just like bomb to listen to whether you are or not. I was able to listen to that while reading. I liked kind of being in her headspace while going through like her creation. That was a lot of fun. Normally though, if I'm listening to music, it has to be atmospheric and there can't be any lyrics. And I prefer silence when I'm reading. I really do. The next question is, reading at home or everywhere? I read everywhere. I always have an audiobook on my phone. I always have the Kindle app on my phone, on my iPad. I bring a book everywhere I go. I truly think it makes me a better member of society. I'm less froggy in traffic if I'm listening to an audiobook. I'm less irritable while waiting in line if I have a book on me. I also think it swings the other way. I have a tendency to start conversations with strangers. And so, a book can help me get in and out of Target in a timely manner. It helps me have that great pause and focus on what I'm listening to or what I'm freaking reading instead of like telling the woman next to me that I love her outfit. I could just keep that to myself. And again, get in and get out of there. So I just think that having a book with you wherever you go has like many great benefits. And I also think it's the reason why I read so much. I do like to read in different spaces as well. I kind of figured out in college that if I read like my required reading for class outside of the library or outside of like my apartment, I would remember it better. And that sort of carried on over to like reading for like pleasure. Thank God, because that curriculum was rigorous. They tried to kill me. I still call it the gauntlet. I'm having like a physical reaction like after saying that. Anyway, like I carry that over to now where I like to remember the moments in my life, the experiences that I have. And so if I can read a book in a particular space, it kind of grounds me there and I'm able to remember it all the more. For example, like my reread of The Viscount Who Loved Me, I specifically went to the Bellagio because I love their botanical garden display. And it was Flight of a Fancy. I remember how it smelled and I remember the exact parts of the book that I read during that day. And I just like having that, like, in my recollection to pull from. I think it's important. So I definitely use books to like ground me within a space. I love that. So everywhere, that's my long-winded answer for that. Everywhere. The next question is, one book at a time or several at once? Several. I think right now I'm in the middle of 5 different books and I've paused at chapter breaks. The next question is reading out loud or silently in your head. I read silently in my head, but I will admit, if I'm really feeling a book, okay, if I feel like the author is popping off, I do have a tendency to yell their name. In fact, I do that with Kerrigan Byrne quite frequently. I also, if I'm at home, I try not to be like a menace to society. If I'm at home, I, do, engage in a little dialogue with the author. And that's when there's an extreme. If I'm, really enjoying something here, if I feel like the hero or the heroine has the audacity, I'm like talking to the author as I'm going through it. Or if I'm ragey, and I typically cut those parts out of my B-roll or just throw music over it and like hope that I'm sitting far back from the camera so that you don't have to see that. I may have included like one clip of that in one of my vlogs when I was reading The Savage, but that's just me being honest. I am very vocal and theatrical while reading, but in terms of like what's on the page, it's in my head. The next question is, do you read ahead or even skip pages? No, I do not, ma'am. That's a DNF for me. If I ever feel like I need to be skipping, I'm DNFing the book. And I am so quick to DNF now because I would read every word and like trudge through it to the point where like it just made me ragey. I'm like, there's so many books out there to read, and you should never be reading something that you're not enjoying. Or at least I know. I'm not going to tell you what to do. That's just my motto over here. It's a quick DNF, sis, because my time has value and there's just so many books for me to get to. The next question is breaking the spine or keeping it like new. I try to, not break my spines while I'm reading. For some reason, This doesn't happen a lot in historicals, but like the cover kind of flares out, you know, from like me opening the book. And I will say, I don't break spines upon initial reading. It's when I go back to re-experience where I've tabbed that my books fall apart. I probably have some like example for you. Speaking of Kerrigan Byrne, and look at this tabbing. I was like in a freaking frenzy when I was tabbing this up. They usually don't come this far out anymore. But anyway, I am very fond of a particular like steamy scene. And like, as you can see, this book is falling apart. Madness. So yeah, I do break my spines of the books that like I really enjoy, and so I can experience certain parts of them over and over and over again. Like, I really need another copy of the book. I can't believe I just showed you that. The next question is, do you write in your books? I do not. I have an extensive tabbing system, and when I want to expound on my thoughts based on what I've tabbed, I use Post-its and I date them. A lot of the joy for me is being able to gravitate towards the same quote, you know, the words don't change, but track the evolution of my thoughts over time. And so I have found that if I use Post-its, then I can just stack them on top of each other as I'm doing like my 5th or my 6th reread, and then also like track the date and see, you know, how what I think about it today is different from like 2 years ago. When I wrote in the margins, I always ran out of space upon rereads because I wanted to add to it. And I never knew, you know, like which Tiffany. Was it like era, like a decade ago? Or is it like, you know, the 2 years ago reread? I like to kind of like, you know, document when I'm making those like assessments about a book. Also, I'm just gonna run through like my tabbing system now. I have been asked for it, okay? I'm not just dropping that party line. People have been asking me. They really have, okay? Steph did from Novelty Corner in my last video. She wanted to know, so I figure I will put that here. I like to use, first of all, I like to use these tabs. Transparent tabs are everything for me because I want to be able to see through them. And yeah, it's just, that's really what I want to be able to see through them. I buy these in bulk, like I said earlier, and I really enjoy them. I like to do a color story. So in the front of my books, I don't think I did it this time. This is Toxic by Maggie Cole. This is an ARC. And I didn't like intend on tabbing, but it just happened. Again, this is my bookmark, so we just went for it. Or I did. I know I did that with Connie Mason. I don't know if it matters. Probably the Highwayman has it. I like to, no, it doesn't. Well, typically I like to have like a posted with the color story. I don't do it very often though, because I know what the colors are. Unless I'm in a fantasy romance, the colors change. But typically I like to use pink for steam. I like to use orange for like poignant moments. Yellow is for the hero. I really like to track the arc of our characters, like purple for the heroine, green for quotables, blue I use for like heartfelt or sad moments, and dark purple is for plot. And so I like to tab like the first 2 lines of what I'm referencing. I've found like that works best for me. I know where my eye should start. And then if I want to expound on something, I will use a Post-it and I will put it underneath that tab. And I date it, like I said before. The whole point for me of tabbing, or at least the joy, is being able to take a book off of my shelf and know what's happening in the book based on the color story. And so, you know, it does kind of get a little crazy, but there's a method to the madness. I do double tab. So if I see, like, I've recently read this, so I definitely know what's happening and when because of the color story in this case. I have, you know, double tabs of light purple and orange. That tells me this is about Bridget. This is a poignant moment in their romance. And I know because it's earlier on in the book, this has to do with the betrayal that happens in this second chance romance. I can also tell when the hero or the heroine is accepting or at least coming live to their feelings for their love interest, because that's typically happening between steam. So I have like another tab of Bridget, okay, light purple and orange in between like two pink tabs. So, you know, if steam's following that realization, I know that that's probably them, you know, coming to an aha moment. I also like to couple pink with orange for developmental steam. So that's how I tab my books. Like I said, I've actually been asked before, so I'm kind of happy to put that in this video. And let's see what the next question is. I'm sorry if I'm like really long-winded with all of these. It should have been like what, like an 8-minute video. Maybe it will be, we'll see. 12, tag others. Okay, I think I have 2. Don't at all feel pressured to do this, but I do have a couple tags. 1, I'd like to tag Serafina. I believe her channel name is Life Between the Pages. She just started a channel. She has a gorgeous and extensive library. I follow her on Instagram. I'm gonna link her channel below because I wanna know what her reading habits are. I'm also very curious about Victoria from Victoria's Romance Reads. I wanna see her answers to these questions. And Steph from Novelty Corner. I'd like to see how, you know, she wraps this up as well. Again, don't feel any pressure. I will have these questions down below if you would like to do this as well. And I want to thank you for joining me again. I want to ask you to consider subscribing and sticking around, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.